Welcome to Gemma Movie Recaps. Today, we're thrilled to present the captivating tale of the 2014 action and historical drama movie called Unbroken. This film follows the extraordinary journey of Louis Zamperini, an Olympic runner who faced the harrowing experience of being captured by Japanese forces during World War II. However, we want to give you a friendly warning that spoilers lie ahead, so be prepared. Let's begin our exciting recap. But before we start, please support our channel by subscribing and click the bell icon for future notifications. Now, let's start. The movie opens with a scene depicting a World War II Air Corps mission in the Pacific Islands. Louis Zamperini, a skilled bombardier, and his crew are aboard a B-24 Liberator bomber engaged in a dangerous bombing operation against the Japanese. Despite sustaining heavy damage from enemy fire, Louis and his pilot, Phil, skillfully land the aircraft, saving their lives and the rest of the crew. The story then takes us back in time to Louis' youth in Torrance, California. We see a young Louis as a misfit, engaging in rebellious behaviors such as smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol at just 12 years old. The police bring him home after a fight, which upsets his father, highlighting that this isn't the first time Louis has been involved in such incidents. We briefly meet Louis' traditional Italian family, who have immigrated to America. During a baseball game, Louis is caught with cigarettes and alcohol under the bleachers, prompting him to flee and avoid trouble. It is during this escape that his older brother recognizes Louis' exceptional speed and talent for running. His brother takes on the role of his trainer, channeling Louis' energy into athletics, which helps keep him out of trouble. Over the years, Louis becomes renowned as the fastest runner in his high school's history and eventually earns a spot on the U.S. Olympic team for the 1936 Games. In a remarkable race, Louis starts from last place but quickly accelerates, ultimately setting an American world record.
In 56 seconds.
In Hawaii, Louis and his crew await reassignment after surviving a plane crash. Louis' impressive running skills and dedication to training earn him respect from his fellow soldiers. Sent on a mission to search for a lost aircraft, they face another perilous situation when a defective plane crashes into the ocean near Oahu. Only Louis, Phil, and Mac survive and find themselves stranded on lifeboats, battling limited rations and the constant threat of sharks. As days pass, their supplies dwindle, and hope becomes increasingly elusive. Despite their dire circumstances, they attempt to signal for help, but their distress signals go unnoticed. With each passing moment, their struggle for survival becomes more challenging as they navigate the treacherous waters and learn to evade the circling sharks. As their desperate situation continues, the survivors attempt to eat an albatross for sustenance but quickly vomit it up. Instead, they use the bird as bait to catch fish, finding some relief in raw sustenance. Days later, they endure a treacherous storm, during which Louis strikes a deal with God, promising a lifetime of service in exchange for survival. Miraculously, they withstand the storm and are rewarded with rainfall that provides them with much-needed fresh water. In a display of resilience, Louis manages to kill a shark and they feast on its meat, finding strength in this unexpected triumph. After enduring 47 days at sea, Louis, Phil, and Mac finally spot a plane that could potentially rescue them. However, to their horror, the plane starts firing at them. They jump into the water and narrowly escape the bullets, kicking away sharks in the process. Reuniting on the life raft, they patch up the bullet holes and continue their struggle for survival. Tragically, Mac's health deteriorates, and he passes away. On the 47th day, a glimmer of hope arises as a boat discovers them. However, their relief is short-lived when they realize it is a Japanese vessel, and they are taken as prisoners of war. Confined to prison cells, Louis and Phil receive meager rations of rice. Louis is interrogated by a Japanese officer who recognizes him as an Olympic athlete. When Louis inquires about the fate of the Marines left behind, he is informed that they were executed. Louis carves his name on the cell wall alongside others imprisoned there. Later, he and Phil are forced to strip in fear of being executed, but instead, they are drenched with cold water and told to shave. They are then taken to a POW camp in Tokyo Bay where they encounter Corporal Matsushiro Watanabe, known as the Bird. The Bird inflicts physical abuse on Louis, repeatedly striking him with a kendo stick and breaking his nose. Louis endures the torment as he learns that the bird's sadistic nature stems from his spoiled upbringing and desire to compensate for not becoming an officer. In the prison camp, Louis settles into the barracks and hears stories about the bird from fellow Marines. They reveal that the bird's nickname is a substitute for the derogatory terms they would prefer to use. They explain that the bird's sadistic behavior is rooted in his upbringing and inability to attain officer status. Reluctantly, Louis is singled out by the bird as the Olympic athlete among the prisoners. He is forced to compete in a race against a young Japanese boy, but due to his weakened state from lack of food, Louis collapses, which prompts the bird to beat him further. The prisoners are subjected to rigorous calisthenics in the cold, and the bird continues to showcase the talents of the captives. Louis is chosen once again to race against the Japanese guard, but his frailty and illness prevent him from keeping up, resulting in another defeat. The bird cruelly belittles Louis, asserting his failure and striking him with the stick once more. Despite the hardships they endure, the prisoners vow to resist cooperating with the enemy, united in their refusal to provide information. The prisoners are subjected to demanding manual labor, including the unpleasant task of cleaning out the latrines. Despite their lack of food, they find themselves frequently needing to relieve themselves. As they pass the bird and the guards, Louis defiantly smiles at them, causing a small moment of satisfaction. They reach the ocean and dispose of their waste, temporarily escaping the oppressive conditions. During a search of the barracks, the bird discovers a hidden map, leading to one soldier being brutally beaten in front of the others. Louis, filled with anger and frustration, expresses his desire to kill the bird but is warned that such an action would result in his own execution. They are reminded that their only hope for revenge is to survive until the end of the war. In the middle of the night, the bird and the guards abruptly wake up the POWs. Louis tries to hide at the back, knowing he has drawn the bird's attention. However, the bird seeks him out and beats him, questioning why Louis makes him resort to violence. One morning, Louis is informed by a fellow prisoner that it has been reported that the renowned Olympic runner Zamperini is dead. They offer him the opportunity to go on the radio and let his family know that he is alive. Louis agrees and is taken to the radio station, where he reassures his family that he is unharmed and being treated as well as can be expected. The Zamperini family listens to the broadcast with relief. While eating in a cafeteria, Louis is asked to make another announcement, this time speaking negatively about America. In return, he would be granted Japanese citizenship and spared from the harsh conditions of the POW camp. However, Louis refuses to betray his country. He is taken back to the barracks, where everyone is gathered outside. The bird ties Louis's hands behind his back and expresses disappointment, stating that he had seen strength in Louis's eyes and initially thought they could be friends. The bird then orders all the prisoners, numbering over 200, to punch Louis as a form of punishment. One of Louis's friends refuses, prompting the bird to beat another comrade. Eventually, Louis encourages the first man to join in, and one by one, the prisoners punch Louis relentlessly for hours. By the end, his face is severely injured, bloodied, and swollen, and he can barely open his eyes. Months pass, and during a prisoner performance of Cinderella, the bird reveals his promotion and impending transfer. He manipulates Louis, prompting him to offer congratulations, but Louis remains silent. The camp improves after the bird's departure, but fighter planes and bombings bring new worries. In a shocking twist, the prisoners discover that the bird is their new commander at a different camp. Louis faints upon seeing him, and the bird asserts his authority, ordering them to work on coal barges under the threat of execution. As they settle into the new barracks, an Australian POW delivers a grim message: their presence is unknown, and their future seems uncertain. The prisoners brace themselves for the challenges ahead, knowing that they are isolated and in great danger. The prisoners endure backbreaking labor, carrying heavy coal-filled baskets and climbing steep stairs to load the railroad cars. Tragedy strikes as one man collapses and falls to his death. Yet they are compelled to continue working without pause. Amidst their hardships, news arrives of President Roosevelt's passing, prompting only a single man to break down in tears, while the rest remain stoic. Weeks pass, and the men persist in their grueling work under the scorching heat. Louis sustains a severe leg injury that shatters his Olympic aspirations and leaves him weakened and emotionally drained. The relentless physical and mental toll takes its toll on the once indomitable athlete. During a day of grueling labor, the bird singles out Louis for punishment. He orders him to hold a heavy wooden plank over his head, threatening that the guards will shoot him if he lowers it. Louis, weakened and in pain from his leg injury, manages to endure the excruciating task for over 25 minutes, despite the physical strain and the bird's growing anger. The bird eventually resorts to physically assaulting Louis, but cannot break his unwavering resolve. As the sun sets, the prisoners are finally allowed to return to their barracks. In a surprising turn of events, the prisoners are informed by the guards that the war has reached a point of ceasefire. They are invited to bathe in the river, but suspicion and fear fill their hearts, believing it to be a ploy for their execution. However, their anxieties are interrupted when an American bomber plane flies overhead, transmitting a Morse code message that the war is over. The POWs erupt in joyous celebration, relieved that their ordeal as prisoners of war has come to an end. After the ceasefire, relief packages are dropped for the prisoners. Louis discovers a photo of the bird as a child, and the bird is nowhere to be found. Louis is flown back home to California and reunited with his family. The film concludes with real-life photos showing Louis' post-war life, including his wife and family. The bird remains hidden for years as a war criminal, but amnesty is eventually granted. Louis fulfills his promise to serve God, forgives his captors, and even returns to Japan. He carries the Olympic torch in 1998. The film reveals that Louis passed away in 2014, 3 months before its release. Thank you for reading this movie recap. I hope you found it enjoyable and that it provided you with a clear summary of the film's storyline. If you liked this recap, please show your appreciation by giving it a thumbs up and leaving a comment below to share your thoughts. Remember to subscribe to our channel for more movie recaps and other content. Your support enables us to continue creating quality videos like this. Thank you once again, and we look forward to bringing you more recaps in the future.